This is Tom Bain, and this is Wine, Money, and Song. Please press the like button and please subscribe if you enjoy the content and let other people know who are interested in wine. So you want to be a wine expert. What does it take, a wine expert? Now, I go to parties, people come up to me who I don't know, and they say to me, I understand you're kind of a wine expert. And how do you react to that? Oh, well, yeah, I am. Oh, yeah, I'm an expert. Yeah. And it's nice to hear that, but what does it take to be an expert at something? Well, first of all, there was a book published by Malcolm Gladwell, who is a Canadian scientist. He wrote a book, Outliers. And he talked about expertise, and he talked about people who master things, and how you become an expert. There's a 10,000 hour rule that you need to put in at least 10,000 hours to develop expertise in a certain field or a certain subject. And that rounds out to about 10 years, if you figure it out, hours per day times 365, or how many other days you work. So that's a broad rule. Now, you mean I could be an expert at something if I just spend those hours doing it? Well, no. The eye on mastery, mastering a subject or a field, you have to have a deliberate studying and effort into that subject. You can't just show up. Can you master delivering the mail? You could do it for 30, 40 years. Oh, I've mastered delivering mail. It needs to be a very complex subject. Now, let's go into the fields that require 10,000 hours, 20,000 hours, sometimes even up to 50,000 hours of mastering. First would be classical music composers. Now, there are a lot of child prodigies, and people would think that, they got published at an early age, but they start at 5. So, and I think they took a survey of like 72 classical composers, and only 3 took less than 10,000 hours of study. And one was 2 were 9 years, and 1 was 8 years. So, and these fields that you go in, let's talk about brain surgery. To be really good at that, you really have to put in time, and the complexity of it takes huge amounts of study, and I don't think just anyone can be a brain surgeon. So, how about music? Regular music, general music. Well, that's a lot of different. There's a big difference with classical than regular music because you market commercial music. Now, you could be very bright and very smart, but you could be marketed the correct way. Take a look at the boy bands. They weren't the brightest songwriters or anything. They were performers. But classical music is a different story. So who else? How about artists? Think about Da Vinci. Think about all the great Rembrandt. Think the tens of thousands of hours that they took. And those fields are very, very obscure and abstract. It's limitless where art can go and where music can go. So just think of that. Let's think of some of the people who we consider to be masters or geniuses. Albert Einstein. And how many years did he take? Oh God, who knows? 60, 70 years. And any true master doesn't stop learning. They keep going. So guys like Elon Musk, and the key thing with all of these people, they're driven. They are driven. And they are forceful in their lives that they're obsessed with this field. And it's beyond loving what you're doing. It's being obsessed with it and not stopping at all times. Now, myself, I put a lot of hours in, but I have friends who have put in twice the amount of hours, 3 times the amount of hours, because that's all they ever think of. So I think the key to mastering anything, any field, is to be obsessed by it and wake up in the morning, that's what you think about. You go to bed at night, what am I going to do tomorrow in this? So that's key. Let's talk about innate abilities. Now, think about someone who's 7'2" versus a guy 5'5". That guy 5'5" is never going to play center for the Los Angeles Lakers. The guy 7'4" has a leg up because he's born with that. He has that advantage, and he needs to practice. If you think about baseball players, football players, how many hours do you think they put in? Now, everyone is jealous on the amount of money that they make, but think of all the hours. When I was 5 years old, I was playing ball 4 hours a day, and I did that until I was 20. I didn't make it. I didn't make being a professional player. And the people who make it, either they had that innate ability of being fast, being strong. You have a big advantage over other people. To hit a ball 450 feet, you got to be strong. So there are exceptions. The second baseman for the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve, he hits the ball 450 feet. He's like 5'6", 5'7". So there are exceptions, but you get that jump up on everyone else on it, that you can make it, you can achieve that level of expertise, but it's much easier. Think about people going into science. You have a high IQ. You have a level of intelligence that's superior. You need that brain power. You need that brain power to make it. So I'm going to go into what it takes to be a wine expert. So now we come back to being a wine expert. First of all, there's a saying in the wine business, a little knowledge goes a long way. And what I mean in that is that people get very, very interested in wines. And they read a few wine books, they drink some wines, they take a few wine courses. And a lot of people, a lot of novices who all of a sudden have all this new knowledge, a few people say to them, oh, wow, oh, wow. And you get this notion in your mind. And I've seen it with myself when I was first learning about wines, because very few people had working knowledge of wine, let alone the wine business, when I got started. And I thought I was really knowledgeable when I was young, and there were a lot of times that I got put in my place. So when I meet people at parties and they start talking to me, trying to show off what they know about wine, wines they've had and things like that, be very careful. Expertise, come back in 10 years and talk to me, okay? Come back in 10 years after you've worked and after you traveled and after you've soaked yourself in the world of wine. Now, you can gain a lot of knowledge, and the whole idea of knowledge is to help you enjoy wines more. And that's why I'm here. I'm trying to distill my 40 years experience. I probably drank anywhere from 20 to 25,000 bottles of wine in my life, tasted more. And what I'm trying to do is to make a presentation to you and all those experiences I had and help you understand and maybe bring down some of the barriers in your mind about wine and help enhance your enjoyment of wine and feel more secure in your decisions. So with myself, how I feel about myself, I'm continually learning. And because of my passion, and passion is something you cannot fake unless you're a prostitute. If you're a prostitute, you're paid to fake passion. If you ever watched Jane Fonda's Academy Award-winning role in Collude, she was a prostitute, and I remember her faking orgasm. But generally, you cannot fake passion except for Jane Fonda. So with me, it's very evident that I'm passionate about wine, and hopefully it's contagious. And when I'm with other people, I can identify a poser about wine than people who are truly passionate. The poser will always be using jargon, wine jargon, and making ridiculous statements of how great a wine is or how bad a wine is, and repeating something that they heard. But to me, you have to have that passion, and the feeling about being an expert and expertise. First of all, no one ever masters any field. There's always more to learn. And the one thing that I realize about wine is if I know 10% of everything there is to know about wine, that means I don't know 90%. I just know a lot more because I've had the experience. I remember Socrates said, I am the most knowledgeable person on earth because I know what I don't know. And that's where you seek. You have to keep seeking the knowledge. So to you out there who wants to be a wine expert, quit your job, go to work in the wine industry, go to work at a vineyard, surround yourself every day about wine and all your open hours, read about it, drink every day, drink as many wines as you can. That's the only way you become an expert at anything. And expertise is tied to passion and deliberate practice. You have to be, not just show up, you have to be in it 100%. So enjoy.